Hi.
Hi.
Yay. We're here
hi.
with Mike Sweeney.
I can talk, right?
Yeah,
All right,
please
I don't
do.
have to. I'd rather just sit here and listen.
Hey, what would you like us to say about you?
Nothing.
Can you do 15?
I'm a neighbor. And I was outside. And you said someone else had got lost up here trying to get here. So you collared me to do this podcast.
I want to say you
Whoever gets lost, everyone gets lost.
only noon, and you already swam in the ocean today.
I did. I swam. I swim every Friday at 6:30 for an hour. At Santa
Unbelievable.
Monica.
That means you have to go to bed early, right?
Sure. Yes.
Free ocean. What would you call it? Free ocean?
Oh,
Open
they
ocean?
call it. No, it's just open water.
Yeah.
I started doing it a year ago because my wife suggested it as a way to get me out of the house, and it worked.
Oh, yeah.
And then it's all these triathletes swim. It's I found this organized swim. They put buoys out there, and I was terrified to swim with them the first time.
Wow.
But it turns out triathletes, usually their worst sport of the three is swimming.
Well,
So,
you
now
swim-
it's called.
I mean, they're still amazing swimmers, but they're
but if it's
less
called
than-
open swimming, could I
just open water,
Oh.
just meaning not in a pool.
Okay. I was gonna
Yeah,
say, could I
that's
just go
all.
jump into the neighbor's pool because I don't know them? But I could still say
If it
I'm
opens
open.
up to a river or an ocean, yes.
Okay,
yeah, it has to be a
okay.
tributary, Laura.
Exactly,
Oh, I beg your
Laura.
pardon.
Yes.
But in the order of triathlon, it's run, bike, and then swim.
No, it's like they don't want you to do the sport. They start with swimming.
See, that's insane.
So they're
That
just
is
so
insane.
tired because that's
No,
the most grueling.
But you're
right?
also sopping wet and you're in a wet bathing suit. And then they make you jump on a bike
Yeah.
and ride a bike and then run.
Dick blisters immediately. Immediately.
Dick
Well,
Blisters is stopping by later.
That's our band, yeah. No, I feel like so
You get those from biking?
they don't
Sorry.
Nah.
they don't want swimmers, they don't want people getting super tired and then jumping in the water because everybody would drown.
I guess.
Right? Which is the real way to win.
Yes.
Right?
Well, I waited till I was really old to swim. So then if I do a race, there's only like 3 or 4 other people my age. Like a chance to do well in my age group.
I started running, I'm 41, I started running like last year.
Okay.
Which is a horrible decision because now it's just this knee really hurts. And then
Indicating his right knee.
my right knee, and then I tried to adjust my like muscle mind connection to my thigh muscle, which just made my hip hurt. I feel like I should just
You
be
just made my head hurt.
I know. It's like I don't know.
Muscle
what-
thigh.
Do we
You
have
started-
to? Can we just be on the phone with our parents and hear about aches?
What do you do if
I'm
you
saying, let's do this fucking podcast.
I'm
No,
thinking-
I mean like because they're elderly.
If I have an emergency on the side of the road, that's one thing. What if you have like a cramp in the ocean?
Yeah, I think people get those all the time.
Oh,
You just stop and pull on your toes
that's the thing.
and straighten out your leg like a ballet dancer.
Yeah,
What do you think my connection is to Michael Phelps, the amazing swimmer?
you're the one who
You
handed
sold
him the bong.
You sold him potties.
No,
That's what the mind goes to.
I wish. No, we have the same ape index.
Ape
What?
index.
Yeah, you do you know what that is?
arms. I know what that means because doesn't he have insanely long arms?
Yep.
Like a primate?
Yep.
Like an orangutan?
Yep.
And that's
And I have that too.
Wait, how long are
Really?
your arms? But I mean, how
They're going.
long
Okay,
is
they're
it?
going through
indicating,
both
Laura,
walls.
it's extending
Look
both
at-
arms.
They're going through that wall and that wall.
What is out the room?
Okay, Da Vinci's, the sketch of the Vesuvian Man. He was a proponent of this thing called your ape index, meaning that you should be as tall as your wingspan is from
Right.
middle finger to middle finger.
He
at
was
the tips.
obsessed with proportion.
And so
All men are.
his ape index is 3 inches because his arms are 3 inches longer than his height. And so is mine. I'm
Really?
5'9" and my wingspan is 6 feet.
Yeah, but Laura, the real trick is you both have web feet. That's the trick.
All right. I didn't say I was good at swimming. I didn't say that. I'm just saying that.
Well, that was my next question. Do you feel like, oh, God damn it, I should have medals,
Yeah.
gold medals here?
Yes, but I could have. Also, it's rock climbing is good. That seems more like something I could do.
When's the last time you're on a rock,
Yeah, never.
so to speak? Never. When's the last time you're in the ocean?
All right, I don't know how to swim.
That's
Is that true?
Mm-hmm.
Uh huh.
You never learned, but didn't you grow up near a lake up in Jamestown?
Yeah.
Chautauqua.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah, but it was mostly cold. I learned how to ski.
Oh.
I didn't do a good job.
Oh, okay.
But, yeah.
I never learned how to ski.
How often do you see porpoise?
Once in a while.
They're out. They're huge, right?
They're big, but they come by and they're gone in a second.
How amazing.
But everyone was like, oh, what about sharks? And lately there's been like
don't
a
wanna say
algae bloom
Yeah.
out there, and the fish eat the algae.
Yep.
And then the seals, all the seals eat the fish.
I saw a seal.
Oh, yeah.
I saw a seal,
Yeah. And the algae bloom has made fish made the seals go crazy.
Yes.
No.
And they've been attacking swimmers.
It's true.
Why?
It's on the news.
Yeah.
Oh, why? I wonder what's in it.
I don't know. It makes them kooky. It's like doing a neti pot with tap water. It's bad for the brain.
Oh, I was going to say,
Exactly.
I immediately went to how do we get it and smoke it?
The algae bloom?
Yeah.
We can find that. It's California.
Just get some seals here. Get some live seals.
Oh, that's sad though. I don't. I feel bad.
Yeah.
Flesh.
Weird.
We were with my nieces on the beach and we saw the seal and they're like, it's a dolphin. And I was like, no, girls, it's brown and there's no fin and it's a seal. And
You
they
didn't
just kept
yell at them for like,
Well,
what's wrong
no,
with you?
I was trying to ruin it softly. I'm a gunkle, so it's really hard for them to not think I'm fun, even when I'm lecturing, right? Do you know what I mean? Like when you're the gay uncle, everything you do is fun.
Right. How old are they?
They're too little to know. You know what I mean? They're 6 and 4.
So gunkles are more fun than regular uncles?
Yeah.
I was a bad uncle. I was never around.
Mike has been a postman. He's been a lawyer. He's been a stand-up writer. And he still does both. And he's been a husband and a dad. And I was going to say, which job did you like the most?
Right.
And then in that situation, you kind of almost have
Mailman.
to say dad.
Uh-huh.
Nothing tops mailman.
I knew you were a trial lawyer, right? Before you started doing television work.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the postman thing. Was that like a paper route? What were you doing?
It's why he doesn't have dogs, right?
It's true. No, I was a mailman during college. That was my summer job. Like I took the civil service test.
Yeah.
And I had to learn how to drive a Jeep because the steering wheel's on the left side.
What's the rule?
I
What's the
didn't know.
culture?
On the right side.
What's the culture when someone's mailbox is too full? Do you just jam shit in there in
Oh,
an
that's a
angry
good
fashion?
question.
Yeah. What do you do?
Yeah, I think you just jam it in.
Okay, because as a person who never empties their mailbox, that's an
Right,
act of aggression, right? Every time I open my mailbox and there's...
But now there's no mail. Now I don't think... this was a long time ago where your mail actually
if you have
mattered.
Spectrum Internet, you get mail.
That's
You always get there.
I've been irate. Let me talk to customer service, and it's all about the mail. I don't give a shit how much they're overcharging me. I'm like, I just don't want it in writing.
Yeah.
yeah.
So
No,
wait.
but your mail doesn't matter anymore, right?
No,
when,
I just
when do you
live-
ever get anything important in the mail?
Well, those coupons are fun to litter with.
yeah, that's true.
No, every once in a while I get a check,
Oh,
right? Which is also
Well,
old
that's
fashioned. I know.
I
nobody
know. I
writes
believe
checks anymore.
I received a check for 6 cents yesterday, but Garrett gets the mail.
a residual? Really?
Yeah, let's toast me.
For what?
It was for Nick Swartzen's, I forgot what the Pretend Time show.
That was the full title.
Yeah.
I forget what the pretend time, which I told him not to go with that name, but he thought it weirdly was memorable.
Everybody's on strike.
6 cents.
Are you striking?
I'm on strike.
Everybody's on strike.
I'm in all 3 unions.
Where do you go?
To picket?
Yeah.
I go to the Valley a lot. I go to Disney because you can do a giant loop. So you don't have to go back and forth.
What famous people did you see picketing?
I haven't seen anyone.
Really?
I went yesterday to Television City because some friends were there and it was just writers. So there were no like SAG,
Yeah.
beautiful people.
The beautiful people.
There was no one in shape.
exactly.
Yeah, that's the only
It was a
reason-
very small loop.
Like you're right. Take your picket sign and autograph
Yes.
book. I saw some. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So wait, but you started writing for Conan 100 million years ago, right? In the 90s.
I did. He was in 4th grade. And I said, this guy's got a future. So
Because I remember when Conan came out, it was very different and new, and not like what was already on television. 'Cause
Right.
Y'all's competition, was it Tom Snyder? Who were y'all up against?
Tom Snyder. I think it was Tom Snyder for a while. It just sounds funny. Well, he like famously will tell, back in these ancient times, which was 1993, he was just like Carson. And then Letterman was on after Carson. And that was, I think, kind of. So, there's the big Jay Leno Letterman fight. So then Jay Leno was taking over for Carson. So Letterman moved to CBS.
Right.
And so Conan was taking over for Letterman. And Letterman was just such a giant
Yes.
of late night comedy at that point that he wanted to make a show that was in no way anything like the Letterman show. So I think that's why you were saying it seemed like different.
It was so different.
That was very intentional.
It had
Right. So you wanted to make sure it wasn't funny.
Yeah.
That way it would be, not be confused.
They had a mission. They had a mission statement, and that's why they thought of me immediately.
But
to keep it unfunny, let's get Mike Sweeney over here.
I'm so mean on Benadryl.
no, that's the best version of
Sad.
Laura.
No, you know what? Here's what I dreamt about, and I think this is really sad. I dreamt that I was looking all over hell for a recent magazine so I could be topical on this show.
Shut up. All you could find was Red Book.
And we're talking about 1993.
I love 1993.
No, I watched the show when it came out, and it was funny right away.
It was incredible.
Yeah,
Always funny.
I love
and packed with stuff.
Y'all had Ellen Cleghorn on all the time.
Right, because she was on SNL.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Tell me everything you know about her.
Well, we did stand up.
Yeah,
I
she's brilliant.
did stand
I
up for
love
9
her.
years before I started
really?
working.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I know Laura.
Yeah.
Oh, how did you meet Laura?
Well, I have to, because I feel like Mike's going to like downplay this, but we were in a sex cult together. And it was
And
only.
I do downplay it.
Yeah, and it was just the two of us, so we became good friends.
Right. No one else would join. They'd meet us and go, "We're interested in joining the cult. Who are the other members?" And then we're like, "Well, that's where you come in." They would all leave.
You really need that third person for it to be a pyramid scheme. Otherwise,
Yeah.
you never get off the
Yeah,
ground.
otherwise it just looks okay.
even
But
yes.
I think it was comic strip where we met.
Yeah, probably.
You're from New York?
New Jersey.
Oh, Jersey. Okay.
Yeah, but then. Oh, go ahead.
You started stand up first, or were you?
I was, as you mentioned, I was a lawyer, but I never wanted to be a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a kooky mother, so I was like kind of babysitting her. And then the second I was old enough to move into the city, I was already 26. But the second I lived in the city, I started doing stand up at night. So I was like doing trials during the day, and then I'd go do open mics at night. And then I got into a couple of clubs, and then the second I got in a couple of clubs, I quit. I had, being a lawyer, I had no money saved. And then I did stand up in the late 80s and early 90s. And that's when I met Laura.
Right.
Yeah, probably at the comic strip.
Did you ever do Carrie Hoffman's club?
Stand up New
Yeah,
York.
just Stand Up New York.
Yeah.
Right. Did you ever do one of their theme shows as a lawyer?
No. I did not want to. I didn't like
You don't want anyone
talk
to-
about being a lawyer.
I knew-
Lawyers are horrible,
Yeah, people
horrible
could use it
people,
against
and I'll
you.
say that. And
So, okay, what is it really fast? And it's more of a law school thing where you have
Right.
to write out and you have to give this is what I'm doing to the court, like your little presentation. It's like 5 minutes.
moot court.
That thing.
It's called, yeah.
So I have a friend currently, right, in pandemic. She's a comedian, and
Okay.
not out of nowhere, but she went and got herself an $80,000 scholarship to law school and is becoming a lawyer.
Okay.
And she's talking about how much of a leg up being a stand-up is, because she's like, so when you're giving what's the word?
It's called like moot court, oral argument.
Right.
Yeah,
So you're
yeah.
doing like a practice oral argument. She's like, Daniel, these people don't even have it memorized. She's like, they're holding a piece of paper with their handshake, and I'm up there killing for 5 minutes.
Oh,
hilarious.
that's
And
nice.
yeah, she's like, I got the fucking run on this joint. It's
That's
brilliant.
Well, wait, so does she want to be a lawyer now?
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, okay.
She's a very funny performer
Yeah.
and writer, but she
Yeah.
wants to sue the shit out of landlords. I'm like, fuck yeah.
All right.
That's
Yeah,
nice.
Where does she live?
In fucking Los Angeles, California. Yeah, she's
Okay.
and all of her friends are comedians, so we need to sue our landlords.
Wow. Okay. She has a built-in clientele.
Exactly, which is genius.
Well, yeah, no, I used to have jury trials, and you do have this, captive audience. And all I cared about was making them laugh. And I didn't more than doing. And this one judge in federal court called me up because I don't know what you're doing. He goes, if you make one more joke, and I'm going to fine you in contempt. Oh,
What? In
You're
contempt?
kidding.
in contempt.
Oh,
Just because it's so
Well, I
unbecoming.
was just making joke. I was joking through the whole trial.
Hilarious.
But then this other judge loved it, and he was like, "It was the last trial I did before I quit." And he called me up and at some conference. He goes, "I don't think you're going to be a lawyer for much longer. I see you."
Oh no.
And I was like, "Yeah, I'm." So then after the trial was over, I said, "Yeah, I'm actually quitting." And then that jury came to see me do stand up.
Shut the fuck up.
amazing.
You handed out like a flyer
I don't know how,
after the
no, I don't know how they found out where I was. And I came to that club and they said, this jury
Of
was
your
here.
peers.
No, they said this jury was here to see you, and they waited 2 hours and you didn't show up. I got there late. I missed them. Yeah.
That back in the day when you did a few sets at night,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah,
you
you
did
run
like
around
3
town.
clubs a night.
You run
Yeah,
around town.
Well, that's a very New York thing.
Yes.
that's sweet though.
But I was
like that they were
relieved.
there. Oh,
Well, good luck to her.
Yeah, she's doing great.
She's doing it backwards, but fine.
Yeah, I think she'll be a homeowner faster.
Yeah.
For someone with a legal background, I feel like
Right.
that can only kind of help you in life to sort of know when you're getting ripped off. But does it, like, as a Judge Judy viewer, are you just irate when you watch her?
I haven't watched Judge Judy.
She's
in
a
long
genius.
time. She's probably is I haven't watched that show. I don't watch comedy and I don't watch law shows.
Good for you.
No,
He just swims in the open ocean.
I'm
That's
trying
what
to
it's
drown
led to.
myself. Clearly trying to drown
That's what
myself.
television does to
Yes. No, I was a bad lawyer. So I'm like, when people give me papers to sign, I don't read them. I'm just like, yeah, whatever. I'm very philosophical.
I sort of want to become a notary public. There's a lady in my neighborhood who has
sense.
right.
You want one of those paper crimpers.
I want to just sign my
This
name a lot.
goes,
Yeah.
but
That
this,
sounds fun.
I think this also goes back to you used to collect stamps. Your neighbor stole your
That's a lot of
stamp.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah, well,
Oh, you don't
Dan-
forget a story like that.
Daniel and I, Daniel and I we were kind of getting to know each other on this podcast. And so I remember he said when he was a kid, he had a dinosaur stamp
Yes.
and one of his few friends, he said at that time, stole it and said that she bought it for you.
She was jealous of you and your
On all
stamp
kinds of
collection.
levels, but the
Yeah.
stamp collection was just the beginning.
And so she stole, but she admitted she.
Well, I went to her house
Oh,
to play, my side of the street or your
Yeah,
side of the street,
yeah,
and there it is, just sitting right there on the table. I'm
my
like, "Excuse
God.
me," right? It's one of the first early, my first early attempts at like being a bitch and calling somebody on something. Yeah, like, what are you doing?
But I'm still trying to connect it to your dreams of being a notary.
I need I need a stamp shit.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
I need,
It's so weird you say that. I used to collect fossils when I was a kid with these other kids up the street, and I found this great trilobite fossil. And one day it disappeared, and I was devastated. And I found it a few months later on this other friend's, like in the back porch.
Yeah.
And I suspected he took
It
it.
was an inside job.
But another prehistoric ant, like
I was
it's
Stegosaurus
like a
trilobite.
dinosaur.
Yes.
Right. That's
People were getting all Jurassic Park about it.
Yes.
They're like, they have to turn it into a franchise.
Did you confront him?
Wait, so
Your
you
friend?
guys have learned? Did someone pair you two together?
Yeah, Garrett.
Pretty much. Yeah,
Is that
'cause
true?
They're text. Well,
Yeah.
I knew that Daniel was funny because I
Right.
had seen his stand up. But my husband, Garrett, was
Yes.
friends with Daniel and
We have
Ben
Texas
and Myrna.
mutuals.
Yeah, they're mutual friends. And I thought, well, I can't, I can't do a podcast like everybody else. And then I said, yeah, now I want to, but I can't do it alone. And so,
Right.
so we decided, because most friendships out here are kind of utilitarian, like you become
Right,
friends
right,
with
right.
you become friends or marry your wardrobe person, all that shit. And so they said, well, maybe we should become friends over this podcast.
I love that.
Yeah.
I think that's
thank
great.
you.
I was like,
And it seems like you two are getting along.
Yeah.
yeah, you should see us off the air.
I haven't gone. I haven't gone to his place.
Turn
I don't
these
know.
mics off. It's a sex cult.
I have so much crap. I don't know what Daniel's stolen from me. But
She gives me
I-
something every time. Last time was a roll of gold wallpaper she's trying to shove on me, which I do want.
You
Oh,
always
good. Did
do
you
try to
decide-
do
give-
want it.
You're always trying to give stuff away. I don't know what
I'm
that's
kind
about.
of. I'm slowly preparing
Right.
either for
Right.
the assisted living center,
Right.
or I think we're going to wind up living in Ireland. So I wanted to.
Ireland.
Yeah,
know-
she's disbanding. That's what you can tell.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it when people start giving things away? Like cats before they wander off into the woods to die, they give away all their possessions.
Oh, they do.
yeah. You haven't seen that?
No, but I've had imagined that I might die under a house, like a dog or a cat.
Well, you're in the right town for that. I feel like LA, there's a lot of bodies and crawl spaces.
Wait, and an earthquake, tons of
Yeah, right.
opportunities.
You worked in New York forever. When did you move
Yes.
to LA with Conan? Did
Daniel, you're getting us right back on track.
Sorry.
I like it.
Isn't
No,
it
I like
good?
it. I
Daniel,
was
you're
like,
amazing.
thank
Keeps the
you.
thread
I'm
going.
so excited, but to change topic. But wait, would you ask me about Conan?
Did you move to Los Angeles when the Conan show
I did. Wait, he moved out here to take over the Tonight Show.
Yes, for that week.
And I moved out for that in 2008. That was a crazy thing where they're like, in 4 years, Conan's taking over the Tonight Show.
Oh,
which everybody knew. That was not something that
Right, no,
that
it was announced
There was
in
a
way in
date
advance.
and something
Yes, it was
everybody
great.
had agreed to.
That's why it was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Because to me, like showbiz is like the element of surprise. Like
Yeah.
a movie comes out that people aren't expecting. And then and so this was kind of almost like NBC turned into a bank or something. Like in 4 years, my son is
Yeah,
taking over.
very true.
Yeah.
Seems
but-
like it could.
yeah. I feel like that had never been done before. But
Correct.
that's what we were doing.
Yes.
And the nice thing was we had 4 years to look for a house.
Yeah.
But so I moved out here with Conan. So I worked with him. I started in 1995 at the late night at Rockefeller Center. Amazing. And then in 2008, we moved out here, did the Tonight Show for 7 months, then went on a national tour.
Yes.
And then we did the show at TBS.
So wait, how long was the run before the debacle at the Tonight Show? How long did y'all have it?
The debacle.
It feels like before they
Did I mention it?
changed.
Oh, right.
Before they before they changed bank owners again.
Wait, you're getting the old bank owner back?
Now I'm confused.
What's happening?
Because I listened to it's a crazy story, and
It's a
everybody,
crazy story,
each player involved, each host has talked about it separately, but not together. Now that time has passed, right?
Right.
And I think it's usually broken down to Jay and Conan, right? Those are the two people involved in the show. I think people totally lose the fact that an entire staff moved across the country.
Yes.
Families, everybody who had something to lose.
Yes.
Property, a roof, that kind of thing, not just your job. I think that part is totally lost in the
you're right.
discourse.
That people just talk about the hosts.
Who wanted the ego of it,
Right,
which was
but-
totally part of it.
Right, but that's an interesting.
Like Conan had to move the whole ship across.
That also
the coast.
proves that Conan is a good guy, because he could have said, "Fuck it, I'll get a staff out in L.A." Right?
Right. I mean, any
But
of
took
it. Yeah,
everybody
it
with
could have
you.
left everyone.
Well, you were under
in New York.
contract.
No, everyone was invited, and then some people are like, "Nah, I'm going to stay in New York," but most people moved. Afterwards, when everything imploded, he helped float people for a while, obviously. But, I remember going out, a year or two before the show, and they're like, "Oh, we're building this whole new studio for you." And we go, it was Studio One at Universal.
Radford, right?
No, Universal.
Oh, right.
And we went, and they gutted it, and we went to look at the footprint of the studio. And the second I saw it, I was like, it was too wide. And it was too, like the biggest mistake I think you can make, especially with comedy and live audiences on television, like no one cares how big the crowd is.
Right.
But I remember some weird one-off late night shows in the 80s and 90s where their camera would sweep, like, it's 400 people, and it's like, that's not good.
You don't know. Yeah.
It's not good for
And
TV
acoustics
comedy.
suck.
Well, like
too,
the Dean Martin
if you're on
Celebrity
stage.
Roast,
Yeah.
they show the audience there's 700 people there.
my
You're
God.
like, why?
Yes,
No one even sees
yes.
them.
But I know, and they think that's like, cash. But for actual comedy and wanting your comedy to do well, as you know, like, you want this low ceiling, you want intimacy, you want people packed in, you want fire hazards. but I remember walking
A
in
reason
there,
to stay.
Right. I was just like, this is
How funny.
well, because New York was 198 people.
Wow.
Fairly steeply raked, small, contained, and I knew this was more of a barn. And I mean, the crowds are great, but I remember like little omens where I'm like, I don't like this.
I feel like I saw you there at that studio. Did you direct any of the shows?
No.
But I know. Okay, so you just wore one of those heads.
You just acted like that.
a headset.
yeah. You there.
And so, and you told me that you did. No, okay. But anyway, but I
Off
remember,
mic, I will. Yes.
I agree. I remember thinking too,
like,
like, I mean, the audience was so far away.
Yeah.
It seemed like
maybe a little more than
usual, right?
Yeah, it didn't seem quite as intimate, but But I also, the shows were going fine, I thought, and I just always thought, well, we'll have time, so I wasn't worried about the things that were, where it seemed like we were pressing. Do you know what I mean? I just thought that would be the natural. And then, this phone call came where they're like, "Can you come outside the building?" I'm like,
No.
what's going? Yeah, it was Conan outside, and our producer Jeff Ross are like, "Can you come outside?" They were just like, "Let's not even talk in the building." Like it was my
Wow.
Well, it was just like,
Well, Jay's hiding in the closet.
Right.
He's there.
I mean, I think it was more like, let's go for a walk and get out of the building.
Did you think you were getting fired?
No.
Yeah, honestly.
Fingers crossed. But no, and we just walked, and they said, well, here's what's going on. They want to bring Jay back at 11:30, and we'd go on at 12:05, and
and his whole thing really fast was, which was also not known, was that
Right.
Jay was going to do a monologue and have one guest and do like a 30-minute show, right? Which it's like, hello, that's the first half of the Conan of any late show is that. So who the fuck wants to watch
Daniel.
another monologue and another first guest? 30
Well,
minutes.
here was the other thing that was obviously really bad was we're counting down to doing the Tonight Show. And then I get called into the office in New York and they just announced Jay's going to do a 10 p.m. show. Wow. Remember that?
Yeah.
He did a 1 hour show.
Yes.
Then it was local news and the Tonight Show. And, that's really bad.
And who hasn't learned
It's a
that-
Tonight Show before the Tonight Show.
Yeah.
And obviously that's not good. But, we had to go, well, okay, so these are the cards now that are, and like, it'll be okay. But,
Because what are your options? You have no
There were no
You have no options, yeah.
To me, it was like NBC kept painting themselves into this corner and it was getting smaller. And so there was J 10 to 11. And now it's, how about J 11:30 to midnight? And it's like,
Who was watching? Yeah.
that's just where it was like, Conan was like, okay, I'm getting off this train.
Which is what they needed to happen.
Yes.
Because they couldn't fire him. They needed him to,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Or
right.
it would cost him too much.
Yeah.
And also, who doesn't remember like the fatal flaw of the 10 p.m.?
Right.
Like Whoopi Goldberg had one. Chevy Chase had one. And then
Yeah, Chevy Chase. Was his at 10 or was it at 11?
it may have been 11.
I think it might.
Daniel knows more than he needs
Yes,
to.
you know,
about
it
all
was,
kind
but
of-
I remember
Thank God
that.
you're here. 'Cause Laura and I, we're both like, wait, who?
But for some reason, people can't watch that. There's a gap there or something.
Right. Because, Conan got offered the 11 o'clock spot on Fox. And yes, there was this belief that 11 was not great for some reason. Like people watch news then or whatever.
I mean, I do. I love local news.
Yeah,
I'm obsessed.
Wait, do you actually watch local news?
Obsessed.
I
Oh my
love
gosh.
it.
It's the best.
What do you
Locally,
watch?
I
Yeah.
watch KCAL because
Which is?
they're the CBS.
CBS.
So first of all, the weather girl's the best. I don't want to
Okay.
out her, but she has this like story arc in every segment, whether it's a bumper or the actual forecast.
Yeah.
she starts out really high.
Okay.
And she'll say temperatures are gonna soar, and like she has this
yeah.
really dramatic thing. And right by
Right.
the end of it, she's got this sultry vocal fry.
Oh,
And every time. And it's like,
when did they become cocktail waitresses?
It's my favorite thing,
How everyone looks so sexy.
The men-
and like
too.
morning news,
Yeah.
someone's gonna fuck up twice in the first 5 minutes, guaranteed. It's so fun. There's
Yeah.
always a blooper.
There's
right?
always yeah.
So and I live for that.
And there's always someone out at the shore.
Yeah, the best.
Or
Like,
and the camera of Mount Wilson
It's
for
so-
the sunset.
it's one of the last places, I think I talk about this a lot, but it's like one of the last places where people who they're unpolished, like
Right.
not so, like the Gong Show, right? People
Right.
who were on television but didn't know they were on TV,
Right,
almost,
right,
right?
right.
People who are on local news as guests or like man on the street stuff.
Right.
They're the unpolished.
Right.
They're not ready to be photographed, kind of a thing.
But don't you think everyone's so camera savvy now?
100%.
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
Like,
100%.
do you ever see old, like Robert R. Murrow reports from the 50s, like old early television? A lot of the man on the streets back then, that's where people really didn't know about cameras. And it's it's such a wonderful, I feel like it's a window back to life before World War, almost before World War II in a way.
Yeah.
But just that that American innocence of not even knowing to look at a lens.
Right.
Like they're just talking and so unaffected. You
There's
know?
no camera there.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like now people are, especially in LA, they're like, oh my God, I'm an eyewitness. I know just what to do.
Old man with a ponytail is so gross. It's like Christian
Old
youth
man with
leader.
a ponytail is the single.
Especially if the hair's almost gone in front.
Yeah.
Can we agree that is the worst
Oh, it
look
is
on the planet?
absolutely
like just even-
horrible.
like
It makes
just a
me
little
sad.
goatee.
Yeah.
It's like a acoustic guitar, like
Yes.
like youth choir.
It's
Right.
leader.
It's like somebody pulled your hair from behind and it stayed there, like halfway on your head. It's like, oh.
Yeah, and the worst is when you're seeing them from the front. So you're like, and then they turn around and you're like,
I waited
Oh,
tables.
no.
Or I worked at a restaurant with this old queen. He was probably 48 at the time, but like he was saying
old.
exactly what we're describing. He had
Yes.
receding hairline, but
Right.
ponytail, and he had long nails, which is not a good look on an old man, and these fucking mutton chops, right? But he looked like your aunt. It was very hard to describe. Lots of estrogen, and he would while he. You know what I mean? Like your 48-year-old server. Well, he would wait tables. He'd sit there and play with. He'd curl the ponytail with his pointer
That's
finger.
unsanitary.
I know.
That's hair in your food.
So when I
you're supposed to play with the mutton chops.
yeah, and just like rub the side of your face.
Ugh.
But that image is burned in my brain. Is what I always
Oh,
thought.
that's.
But he was also funny. He'd tell you all kinds of wisdom, like never dance on a round table.
Oh, that is.
Why you
Brilliant
fall
piece of
off
it.
the
Yeah.
edge? Oh,
Well, it'll tip over. It's not structurally sound from.
Oh.
You, enough of your old history with intellectuals.
What? I call it faggy physics. That's what it is. That's what it is. I can say that word.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I can say
Nice,
that word because I
Davey.
hate gay people.
Listen, we know how it works.
Just kidding. Yeah.
I have to call it F-word physics, which
Yeah,
doesn't work quite as well.
Less of a punch. Okay, so wait, I want to talk about, so Conan's been the biggest or most consistent. It's a great show. I have my T-shirt
it's
from
my fault. I've only worked for one show,
but for a long time.
Else to talk to me
but you're
about.
a really good stand-up as well. Very funny
Sure, who
stand-up.
cares?
I was about to ask if you wouldn't mind talking about like your worst set and what that entails. But go ahead if you want to.
Well, I was going to talk about Conan. Used
Please,
to be really
let's not
sketchy.
fight.
There used to be a lot of sketches on
Yes,
Conan, like when
yes,
Amy
very
Poehler would
sketchy.
play Andy's sister, that kind of stuff. So were you in on those parts of the show back then? Because that was the 90s Conan.
That was the 90s Conan.
How did you get into sketch writing? Was that just part of the gig?
Yeah, I mean, I got hired to be a sketch. I also would write monologue jokes, occasionally, but primarily just sketch.
And then, were you doing stand up all the time while you had that job, or was stand up something you left behind?
I left behind.
Why?
Because, I was doing the audience warm up for Conan,
Whoa.
and then I got hired to be a writer. The warm up there was just you come out for like 8 minutes and talk to the audience.
Okay.
It wasn't like
You don't have to do the YMCA.
None of that
Okay.
stuff. No, so so it was just like crowd work.
Mm-hmm.
So it was fun. It wasn't like throwing T-shirts or candy or anything.
Now, and do you feel
There was none
bitter?
of that.
Do you feel bitter at all about being Conan's valet, or are you just like? It seems like the logical progression.
I'm very, very angry about it. I'm to this day.
okay.
Yes,
But wait, Laura's question was, what?
I wanted to ask Mike just about a road gig. What was the worst one?
I think the word Winnipeg comes into mind. And really, there's quite a number of places to go through. But Winnipeg, I got hired to be a headliner at this club in Winnipeg way before I was ready. Mm-hmm. And I was there for a whole week.
Oh, no.
And it was cold and brutal and
that was just the audience.
right? Yes.
Not ready. You didn't have enough material. Not ready.
I just said I wasn't seasoned enough to really be. And I think it's because, he's a New York comic, that sort of thing. And it's like, yeah, okay, I live in New York.
Right.
Yes, you're right. You got the zip code right. But in hindsight, it was during the week. I was like, I was barely getting away with it. And it was every night I was just like dreading.
Imposter.
Yes. So that was rough.
And who were the other comics on the show?
Oh, I don't know. They were from
Winnipeg.
Well, I was bombing in Vegas early on, I remember.
But Vegas, I mean, you probably talked about how Vegas or Atlantic City are not normal in terms of comedy audiences.
Oh, yeah, because
Right.
they've lost something.
Right.
And then they've lost their sense of humor, it turns out. But I remember one of the managers was actually really nice and said, Laura, if it's okay, we're going to have the middle act do a little bit more time and have you do a little less. Because I think that was another thing.
Yes.
I didn't really have the material yet.
Right.
I certainly didn't have the confidence, and then I was like,
But something like that, because you're so sensitive when you're a comedian to everything, and then someone says something like that, you're just like, fuck.
Oh yeah, because then you kind of got fired, but
Well,
really.
you're just.
It's also at that point it immediately validates that you have made all the wrong decisions.
Right.
It's like, wow, every choice I made was the wrong one. I did not a single good one. Wow, and here we are.
I had so many, like, whenever anything was on the line, like if someone, from Frank Cannon from Letterman came in, or I would get so self-conscious and so in my head and so literally be outside my body watching myself. So I was just this automaton reciting. And then you're like, snap out of it. What are you doing? What are you doing out of the like, I'd literally be like yelling at myself.
Yes.
Oh, no,
That's incredible.
I was always the best when I felt there was zero pressure, zero, there was no one in the audience of any import. Yeah. But if there was someone that I would give importance to, I would give all this power to them. And so
it's kind of self-sabotage.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
If you're talking about like regrets, but that to me was almost a constant throughout, was afterwards just going,
yeah. I remember I was bombing so bad in Boston. I played against Sam's that I saw myself at the bar.
They didn't want you to play it again?
You son of a bitch. Damn it, Webb. Yeah. You're right. Exactly. No, they definitely didn't. Don't play it even the first time. I was bombing, but that only happened once where I had a real outer
you
body.
literally put yourself out at the bar.
Yeah, that I
at
could-
least you're having a good time at the bar.
But it shocked me at the time.
Yeah.
Because I could see myself
Yeah.
and didn't know if I was even still on stage. Back then, I drank scotch, and I could see myself holding like a scotch at the bar, also not laughing at me, and just going, "Why
won't they give her the light?"
Yeah, why were you doing this? But you're the only person I've ever heard of that's had an outer body experience.
Oh
too.
my God!
Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah. Oh, really?
The headspace of you're talking and doing your act,
Right.
and
Yeah.
then there's the other level sometimes of like, okay, you're organizing what it is you're saying,
Right.
But then there's that other third one you just talked about where you're
Yes.
like, stop doing that,
Yes.
like just be just relax. But it's that
Yes.
third voice
That.
where you're yelling at yourself, like
Yes.
once you realize you're in your head and you're trying to get yourself out of your head and
Well,
back
then
out,
you're
you're
fucked.
fucked. You're
so
so
fucked.
But that little nut hair of a moment is
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that is so incredible.
You saw yourself outside your body.
Oh yeah, I was horrified.
Wow.
I was just like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm attached to this guy. I can't believe I can't run away from this clown.
That's really
Yeah.
terrible if you, and especially
Well,
having
it's
had
just
it
being
happen
self-conscious.
more than once. Yeah.
I mean, that's the old-fashioned term. I'd get I'd literally just and go, ugh.
I mean, I will say though, the reason I had to stop drinking scotch was because it does make you high as fuck. You may have just been lit.
Yeah.
It might have just been the
that
Macallan's
It
talking.
could have
Oh,
been a
when she
lot
was
of
out,
things.
yes.
But I mean, that was the only time I'd ever been like, what's happening? I'm bombing this bad that I've got.
You left your body.
Right. Or yeah, but even then I had time to
Right.
be looking, like the time was going by so slowly. I was like 12 by the time I left the stage, getting no laugh. But I was like, I don't know. It's so weird.
Do you ever have one of those? Like I used to do a lot of college gigs for a while, and you have to do an hour, and I remember one night it was going okay, but I was definitely talking fast. I was burning through stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I remember there was something where I'm like, in 5 minutes I'll be doing that bit where I pull my arm up and I can check my watch and see how much time has gone by. And so you do it, but I'm just like, okay, here it comes. I was like, it better be 45. And I always remember just being, and it's like 23 minutes. I was like, Mother of Christ.
Yeah.
What am I going? And,
That's wow.
I love having a clock on stage because it can be your absolute best friend, and then at some
Right.
point it's just like like death staring you in the face. It's like you've had an agonizing 4 minutes, and you look over and you have an agonizing 56 more minutes just waiting for you.
Oh, my God.
Hell.
I do have a bit where I complain about being an old man. I do look at my watch. I do
yes.
absolutely do that because
Right,
it's a for sure time check.
Yeah.
Just
But hopefully, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I just never trust myself. Like I always feel like once anything over 10 minutes, I have no idea where I am anymore. Like this podcast.
Right. I have a good bombing story that it's my favorite college bombing story. Is comedian named Billy J. Do you remember? him?
Yeah, you definitely do.
So he was doing all these colleges in the Midwest.
And impressions and stuff, right? That's
did he?
Didn't he? Oh, I don't know. I thought so.
I'm not sure. I don't. Maybe.
Oh, maybe
but,
not.
But he was saying, I was doing these Midwest colleges. They were all great. And the last night, it was some small college in Iowa. And I was like, I'm just going to finish this and I'm going back to New York. Who's better than me? I'm the king of the hill. So they pick him up and they drive him to the college. And they're like, we just very minor detail. We accidentally, we booked you tonight, but we also, it's student boxing night. And he's like, wait, what? And he's like, it's a boxing exhibition and it's the students boxing. And he's like, oh, okay. And he's like, so we're going to combine. So they drive them. And this is a thing where they kind of picked him up close to showtime from the airport. So they drive him they go, you were going to be in a theater, but we've moved it to the gym.
Right.
So they drive him to this giant college gym. He goes in the center of the gym is a boxing ring. And everyone's
Oh my God,
sitting around this ring. And they're like, yeah, we're going to bring you up after the first bout.
After the first bout.
So there's a bout.
Oh my God.
Boxing.
The opener is
Yes,
a bout.
the opener is a bout. Well, the opener goes short because This guy gets his nose broken open and
amazing,
knocked out immediately in the first round. There's blood. He said they were literally cleaning blood off the ring, and the ring microphone came down, and the student goes, "All right, are you ready for your comic?" And he had to do the comedy from the center of the ring.
Yes.
Oh my God.
And nobody's listening.
That's incredible, though.
No. And I would rather give me gloves and I'll fight.
Yeah.
Let me do that.
Yeah.
Wait, so where was Billy J in all of this?
He was the comedian.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were doing it.
No, he told. I'm sorry if I wasn't clear. This is his story.
Oh, I'm
that
sorry.
just seared my brain when I heard it, and I'm telling someone else's story.
Oh, okay.
But because, he loved telling this
I
story.
shouldn't, Garrett, when you cut this together, take out the fact that Mike told somebody else's story. I thought, because it meant more when he was in it, when it was him. I thought it was him, didn't you, Dan?
I was on an emotional journey.
And then he was
with
like,
Mike,
that's not my story.
Not with Billy J.
My great-grandmother, she went down on this huge boat. I think it was called the Titanic. Well, it wasn't actually me. Good Christ.
I'm sorry. It's just a good bombing story.
I'm sorry. No, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I have so many of my own bombing stories.
Believe me.
I performed at a women's college up in upstate New York.
Yes.
And they were perfectly nice. It was great.
Yes.
I mean, it's in a cafeteria also.
Right.
But they made an announcement before me because apparently the male comedian the last week was atrocious.
Right.
So which it's not show business, right? Whatever. It's not comedy when you're performing at a college.
No.
Or a cafeteria.
Or in a it was a cafetorium.
Unless it's
I beg your pardon.
It was a cafetorium. But the RA or whoever brought me up she's like, thank you everyone for coming tonight. And just so you know, in regards to last week's performance, if at any point you feel uncomfortable or there's anything you hear that you don't like, you can leave at any time. Please welcome Daniel.
Oh my God.
Y'all, I'm not gonna,
That's
anything.
such a great modern intro.
That was totally it.
Oh my
I know,
God,
right?
it
was
is,
like,
isn't it?
Are you ready to get triggered?
right? This is
welcome.
This is a safe space.
Right.
If you don't feel safe, get out.
God.
It was, but it really just turned what I was doing into a huge TED talk, right? At that point I felt too I didn't want to offend anybody. Mm-hmm. So anytime I go, you know what I mean?
Did you joke about? But did you?
No, I was too afraid.
So you were out at that point?
Laura, I've always been out.
Oh, no, I don't know, because it says, look, I'm not going to do anything because I'm not attracted to anybody
I played
here.
it straight. I fucked women.
All right.
I voted down the middle.
That's right.
That was one of the shows where this person at the end, a student, was like just waiting, like there's anyone talking to me.
Yeah.
And they're like, I'm just so happy to see you. I'm the only queer person at this whole school. I was like, fuck, no, you're not. I was like, are you kidding me? Well, I mean,
Wait, at an old woman's school?
yeah, that's what I said. That's what. Well, they were 18, 19. I was like, they're not.
Right,
they don't
right.
know yet.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
They need a leader.
Yeah.
No.
But
So we were showering together, and I just wanted to ask, do you think that's weird?
but no, that person was doing their whole thesis. They wanted to write on the neurological damage of living like a closeted life.
Oh.
Yeah, and how you have to fucking unwind all that shit. And I was like, see? Yeah, that's what I love about performance. It brings damaged people together.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
That's really nice.
That is one of my favorite things when I started doing comedy was, and it didn't matter what anyone's background was.
Yeah.
Everyone shared severe damage of some kind, don't you think?
Yeah, I bet. Other than Matt Bronger, who had...
Is he a great...
He's hilarious.
upbringing?
No, but he had a
super
really
sweet.
good... No, I was going to say he had an amazing childhood. He said his parents were teachers. He had all this love.
Yeah.
And one of his bits is when he was saying goodbye, like on the bus, when he was a kid, he was saying, bye, bye, bye. And he turned around and everybody just stared at him like, you are a mama's boy or whatever. But I was going to say most comics don't have a good childhood.
Yeah.
Garrett-
I probably, right?
Right?
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Garrett, can you take out the part where Laura told another comics?
Yeah.
I said his name, though. I gave him the thing. I said Matt Bronger.
Yeah, I said Billy J's name.
How competitive is late night when you're in it? Or are you even just doing the job, right?
And again, thank you for steering back to let's.
Because stand-up is so competitive.
Yes. No, but-
just night after night you're in competition.
You mean like the working on a late night?
Yeah, are you like
Yeah.
watching day to day? Are their
I did
jokes
not.
funnier?
I wouldn't watch any other late night shows just because I didn't like when I was head writer. I didn't want to know what anyone else was doing. So,
Oh, yeah.
and it was just Let's worry about what we're doing.
You had so many great writers on the staff. You had
Yes.
Laurie Kilmartin, Brian
Yes.
Kiley.
Oh my God. It's a long list of just great
Yeah.
writers. You know, Brian Stack, Brian McCann, Alison Silverman, just a lot of really, I mean, it's an endless list. Jose Arroyo, just all these wonderful writers.
Laurie Kilmartin, though, is like the best joke writer.
She's a great
She's
comedian.
amazing.
She's such a
so
great
good.
comedian, storyteller, the whole thing.
She was a monologue writer on Conan. So was Brian Kiley. So they early on at late night, it was monologue writers, sketch writers,
Separate.
and they didn't really cross over. And then when we moved out to LA, it became much more fluid. Like the mono writers would do the mono, but then they'd come in and pitch sketch stuff at the end of the day.
But Conan would have a sketch in his monologue sometimes.
Yes,
like a character
after the
would come
monologue.
in. Yeah.
Absolutely, yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Was there a family that was joined together at the head? It's like a total side bit, like for 30 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, there were 8 million trillion
Those things.
deliberately bad characters,
Garrett's-
good characters.
Garrett's favorite thing was the one about the guys that had their pants off next to the stove. What was it?
But my favorite, I think, of all time is Preparation H. Raymond.
Right.
Oh,
That's so good.
That was a character that Brian McCann, a writer, did. People's favorite things were born in the writer's room. That's one of the reasons I stopped doing stand-up was because we were there till after midnight every night.
Right. You
geez.
just can't.
So I was like putting in for sets, and then I was canceling, and I was like, oh, this place, like we had to eat dinner, and then back then we stayed till after midnight and for years. So I just had to stop doing stand-up. So we'd be there in the writer's room at like 11 p.m. at night, and that's when things like Preparation H. Raymond, a guy just handed out boxes of Preparation H to the audience, is because Preparation H sent us a basket of and so they were sitting around the writer's room, and that just led
That's
to the
great.
creation of that
I
character.
could see how that would be useful anyway, because that's when it hurts. Is really late at night, right?
And also, a lot of times we'd be there at 11 o'clock at night because we needed a second sketch for the next day's show.
Oh yeah.
And you couldn't leave till it was green lit and then all the phone calls, like the writers produced everything. So you had to call wardrobe, props, music,
damn.
all that stuff had to be done before you left the building that night.
Right. I feel like people don't know, like writers have to produce. You don't always get the credit.
Every show's different. I know Conan was based on the SNL model. Your sketch is approved. You've got to produce it. So you live or die.
Oh.
If something goes wrong, you can't go, oh, well, so-and-so ordered the wrong dress. It's like, no, you ordered the wrong dress, or you didn't shoot the pre-tape part right. If something was great, you were like, yes, but man,
I did it.
If
Yeah.
it sucked, there was no one else to point to.
What, your time at SNL didn't overlap with Conan. He was already gone by then, right?
And no, I had 1 year there. It was in '94. And I think I even was on Conan because during the week I was Connie Chung. And so I did the mouth of Connie Chung.
Oh, right.
really?
Yeah.
We call those clutch cargos.
I like to say the mouth of Connie Chung.
You did the mouth of Connie Chung.
Really? That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Clutch cargo, that's right.
We call them, because that was an old show, children's show in Chicago.
Oh, okay.
So I think Robert Smigel brought that to the show.
Oh, that's so funny.
At the start.
Yeah.
So I'm bouncing all over the place, but after the Jay Leno Tonight Show, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And you guys
Debacle.
You guys went on the road.
Yes.
Team Coco, but what was it called? I Hate Conan? What was the
It was the legally prohibited from performing on television tour.
tour? Right.
Oh, that's great.
But you were a writer for that?
Yeah.
But you didn't perform.
No, I was like the head writer of that.
Did you do a warm-up act on that one?
I didn't.
Okay, yeah.
I did. When I became head writer in 2000, I stopped doing the warm-up because I had to be in the monologue
Yeah.
where we're picking the jokes.
So what
The
is
warm up is a horrible thing to be doing anyway. It's awful.
I actually enjoyed it.
So did the tour like kind of solidify we can do our own show, or did it mean anything, or was it just a thing to go out and do? Those are Jay Leno fans. Sorry, knocking from the basement.
They're taking down
We love Jay.
They're
Sorry.
taking down the house.
They're moving the house.
Well, most
back
of
to
Jay's
New
fans
York.
literally are
Last
6 feet
podcast.
under. Have you seen that demographic? Right.
No, you know what? Conan's so kind of large and in charge of his shows that no one ever bothered him about what was on the show, really. So people weren't bothering him at late night. And then, we wrote the show and did it on tour. And then we cruised right into doing the show again on TBS. And yeah, it was kind of just he had carte blanche to do what he wanted to do.
I'm sorry, I have to take this caller.
Yes.
Mike, yeah, this is a left turn. While Mike was, I believe, still studying law in New York, right, or between law and stand-up,
Yes.
there was an artist whose name was Keith Haring, and I'm wondering what your connection is.
Well, Keith Haring did subway drawings. He did around 5,000 subway drawings in the New York City subway. And, I admired them. I like them. And then when I moved into the city in September of 1983, I would periodically go down the subway and take ones I liked.
Fantastic.
How many do you have?
I have 17.
What? That's insane.
It's a little kooky.
So he doesn't have to worry about anything, in other words.
Because fuck you guys.
No, I watch the bullshit like Architectural Digest like at people's homes, right? But what I do watch is an inferior one called Quintessence, which is just a bunch of rich white people with two houses, right? But it's hysterical. It's a folly of mishaps. Anyway, but it's inevitably like two rich old gay guys, right? Who have like 5 houses, but one of them has a Subway Keith Haring piece.
Oh, that's cool.
Because they're just chalk or something.
They're just chalk
and you
on
have
black
to,
paper.
Yeah, you have to really preserve it.
Yeah, I mean, I literally have dreams that I wake up from of school children with blackboard erasers erasing.
Oh my God.
My drawings, and I'm just like, okay.
So wait, where are they? On display
they're by house
in a safe.
And then a lot of them are.
And Mike
in
lives right here in
storage.
Hollywood.
Guys, here's my
Send
address.
a pen.
Come on
But
by.
how smart! I feel like I remember seeing them like they're during all of the 80s.
He stopped doing them in June of '85. I can look at them and know when he did them because his and now there's a lot of fakes, and I can tell when they're fake immediately.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah, he's kind of easy to knock off, and people are trying to knock them off and put them on distressed paper. And I look at them, and I'm like, oh, they're me and one other guy who's an art historian who worked with Haring.
Oh, wow.
I was gonna say, did you meet him or did you pass across?
No.
Yeah.
No, but he stopped in June of '85 doing them, and he did thousands of them.
Okay, so I was thinking in my head, I was like, why wasn't I smart enough to do that? But I wasn't in New York then. But even so,
Do you go because the Broad has a huge what do you call it, collection, whatever.
Well, they have a retrospective.
That's
right
the
now.
word.
do you ever lend your stuff to them?
Or do you just laugh out loud in the museum? You go and just laugh.
I do. I just go, you fools paid to come in here. No, they were in like a Whitney retrospective
amazing.
back in the 90s, and some of them have traveled around.
Wow.
Yeah.
Have you ever well, I'm sure you touch them to grab them, but do you ever touch the chalk or anything? You don't want to fuck it up?
No, I don't touch a chalk.
Amazing.
Yeah. They're very...
So even taking them down when you were stealing them, did you from the subway
Well, now,
stations?
technically, he was vandalizing city property.
Oh, that's right.
Because, well, when an advertisement, when their lease was up, they put black paper over it. There's all these black paper to draw on. So he started doing these drawings, and he was arrested a lot for
Wow, I had no idea.
Oh, yeah.
I thought they were just up the way people spray paint stuff and do murals. And
You're right. He didn't want people to take them. So I did, in a sense, violate his wishes. But I only, in my mind, I was
Public
like,
property.
It was.
We're here with art things.
Well, I like Daniel's opinion, but and also they wouldn't exist anymore, and I only took a few.
But I mean, just that it was that.
Because I could have taken a lot more.
I know, but who would have had the wherewithal to think that's
honestly, yeah.
No, I mean, you just think
It's
whatever.
something-
I
Well,
don't.
The first few times I went, I went down at like 1 a.m. and I dressed like a cat burglar. I'd be like dun 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 dun.
Oh, amazing.
But then I was like, oh, it's New York City. Like then I would just go like on a Sunday at 12 noon with cops.
Oh, no one noticed.
On the platform, and if you. It's a classic thing where if you act like you're supposed to be doing it, no one gives a shit.
Oh, that's so cool.
And no one said boo.
That's like Garrett wearing cables into a show to get into concerts for free.
No, my friend, she's
what's that?
texting this Dallas girl. She was brilliant. I mean, she was like a cute blonde too, but she put an apron on and she'd get boxes and she'd go to the back door and go catering, and they'd let her in to shows and she'd just ditch the boxes in the apron and like go around
that's so
backstage.
great.
That's
She did that.
really
I
cool.
love that trick.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
I used to sneak into places, and then I'd make friends with a security guard, so I could go and get my friends, and I'd make friends with a security guard at the door,
and they
I was
think
like,
you're
"Yeah, I'll be
in.
right back." Yeah, I need some air. And then I come back with like 3 friends.
Brilliant.
That's
Because it was like
incredible.
David Bowie was shooting a music video right near where I was going to school. And I just followed the video cables up to this club. And I just walked in like I was supposed to be there. And they let me in. And I'm standing next to David Bowie.
Oh my
He was shooting the music video for the song Fashion. And I was just like, I can't, because he was doing the Elephant Man on Broadway at the time. So it was on a Monday on his day off. So, and I think I made a lame joke like, you doing a music video on your day off. You really know how to relax, you know? And he's like, I think it's the only time I ever tried to talk to someone famous. But I had all these Bowie fanatic friends.
Yeah.
So I went and got them and stuck them in.
Was he cool?
Amazing.
Wow.
Yeah. That was
We
fun.
did that. We faked it till we made it onto Loretta Lynn's bus. And
how'd you do that?
We just walked on with everybody else talking loud.
I love it.
But you're in such close quarters that as soon as the other 4 people on the bus realized, they're like, "Who are you?" We ran for the hills. I know, but we made it all the way to the bus.
What? How deep into how many
It was
rows?
this big white bus. We were in the living room, I guess. But yeah, I know.
Pretty great.
But like,
That's fantastic.
But they had already put Loretta on ice. So, she had to be like
she was
cryogenically
gone.
frozen.
Yeah.
So they had like, but
Would they lower her? Would it lower into a lower level?
The last time I saw her, full ball gown, right? The bitch can't even walk. She's golf carted to the stage because that's how we knew to get to her bus. Because she's in a golf cart, we could make it faster. Literally, the last time I saw Loretta Lynn alive was as she's being carried up by a strong man. He has her in his arms as she's being carried up the steps of the bus in a full ball gown. And it was her birthday. So we're all going, "Happy birthday to you."
My God.
And Loretta Lynn goes, "Is it my birthday again already?" And there she went. That was it.
And that was it.
Yeah. And then she voted for Trump and died.
We were so lucky to have Mike Sweeney here today, who's so goddamn funny.
This is so
no,
fun.
I mean it.
This was fun.
It went by like a week.
We literally fished him out of the ocean.
No, it went by. I know. So, Mike, we're gonna have to do a part 2 with Mike Sweeney for sure.
Where can people find you these days?
Yeah.
On this podcast. That's it.
Well, you and Lori still do every once in a while. You do podcasts. You
No,
and
I
Lori
do a
come back-
podcast with Jesse Gaskell, who's a hilarious Conan writer.
Okay, great.
And it's, of course, about Conan. It's called Inside Conan, and we talk about, sketches and his travel shows and things like that. And we have guests on that. Yeah, so it's fun.
That's
We've been doing
fantastic.
that.
In the 90s, we went to do the NBC tour.
Yeah.
And saw the Rosie O'Donnell studio and
Yes.
all studio, all
Eighth
that
floor.
era. And then the guest was Kevin Bacon. And so we lined up for the tickets at
This is
whatever
on
night.
Rosie show.
Your show.
Oh,
the Conan show.
Okay.
Kevin Bacon was the guest, and
right.
we line up like you had to do for tickets, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
on the streets, and you show back up at like
Yes.
4:45, right, or 4:30, whatever, stand in line. And we did, and Kevin Bacon had to be somewhere, so everybody had to film early, so they turned us all away.
What?
I still have that ticket somewhere, the NBC,
Wait, so
with the
that's
number.
all-
Kevin Bacon
Yeah.
owes you
I know.
an interview.
Fucking-
Owes us an interview.
And you know what?
Furious.
I know where he lives in Los Feliz.
Let's fucking get him. Wait, what?
I know where his house is.
But you're good friends with Kevin Bacon. We can ask him to come over.
Yeah.
Well,
you
I
guys
sat-
can. I'll drive you up there.
My first week in LA living here, I drove to Malibu and I ate at the Real Inn, which is a great place. But I sat next to Kevin Bacon and Keir Sedgwick, and I wanted to pick that bone with him, but I thought it was not cool. So I just wanted to pick that bone with you. Sorry, I had to do it with somebody.
Well, we just have to interview him, and then you can feel like,
I'll ambush him right at the end of the
Yes.
conversation.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming.
this was great.
okay.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Yay! Thank you.